If God is the creative source of everything and God is in us, because there's no place that it is not, it's an invisible intelligence that is the source of all creation, then the creative source of everything is also in us. Imagine that. The creative source of everything is in you. Which means what Jesus said is really true. Even the least among you can do all that I have done and even greater things. You have the capacity. And that's how you change your subconscious programming. By endlessly repeating something over and over to yourself again, and then catching yourself with a new idea. And then when the new idea is, when you begin to realize it, then you make amends. You go back and you correct the behavior. You change the behavior. And, that's how it works in overcoming alcoholism and so on, in the sobriety movement. It's like you make amends. You don't just have a new thought. You recognize that the creative source of everything is in you, so that everything that any great or divine spiritual master has ever been able to accomplish or do, you have the power within you to do that as well. So this is a clay pot. And this pot was made for me. Underneath here it says, to Dad. I can't even hardly read it, most of it, but at the bottom part of it says, you've been my joy, my inspiration, I love you, and I made this for you. When I was reading Vasista's yoga, I was just fascinated by the constant reference to a clay pot. And what it says is, like, if I were to ask you, what is it that makes this thing up? What is it that constitutes, how do you get a clay pot? What is this thing, what is it made of? What makes it be? So it's got clay, and it's got a covering over it, and it's got paint over it, skin over that, and you say, well, that's what makes this pot a pot. And I say, well, if we were to take this hammer, or takes a hammer, and to hit this clay pot like that, all of the pieces would be there, but there would be no clay pot. So it must be something more than just the material that makes it up. What else is necessary in order for this clay pot to become a clay pot? It's the space, the silent, invisible, empty space inside. And without that silent, invisible, empty space inside, you can never have a clay pot. And so, as you think about what it takes, Vasista calls this infinite consciousness. Or the closest approximation we can come to it is something called space. And Vasista says over and over and over again, just as space is unconcerned with all of the clouds that manifest within it, so too is infinite consciousness unconcerned with whatever manifests within it. It is just always there. So the absolute necessity is the space inside for this pot to exist. Now, the pot absolutely has to have the space in order to exist. But the space doesn't need the pot in order for it to exist, because the space is what? It's infinite and it's everywhere. All right? So that's the metaphor. Now, you now become the clay pot. That is your body. What we've got to see is that what it takes in order for us to exist is the very same thing that it takes for this pot to exist. It must have an invisible, silent, empty, infinite space inside in order for it to exist. Otherwise, there's no you. The infinite intelligence, or what they call consciousness, infinite consciousness, is something that is always there. The idea of having an infinite awareness, an infinite consciousness that nothing can destroy.